Hello, everybody. Reggie Time here, and we are playing a Monday morning session of 25 Euro NL or Unibet. I don't play many morning sessions these days, but it's a good time for me to record. I've been having a very, very good time on Unibet, but that's playing mostly evening and occasional afternoon sessions when the pool is large. There's currently only 55 players in the pool, so not sure what that equates to in terms of actual numbers of unique bums on seats, but probably not that many, and probably pretty reggy, I would imagine. But we'll give it a go anyway because I'm full of confidence, and now's the best time of day for me to make a video. And we've been small 3-bet here. I'd rather he had a deeper stack than this, but I don't think we're going to fold the 9-7 to such a small 3-bet. Sadly, we're not going to be continuing any further on that flop. But I think it's just too small a bet for us to want to fold to straight away. We're going to let the ace jack off go versus under the gun. He's checked back here, which might suggest he's just got a bit of ace high, but we're going to have better hands to want to bet with there than 9 high. Although I get that 9 high can't win, Reg, so why aren't we bluffing with it? Quite frankly, I don't expect him to even fold ace high to a turn probe, and it's not a spot where I feel that I want to bet twice. 2 8s here on the flop seems pretty good with a 9-8 on table 4. Sadly, we get no action. Things are going incredibly well this month. It's been my best poker month probably in terms of volume and in terms of net profit for probably a year or so now. I triumphantly posted on, I think it was Saturday, that I'd ticked through the £1,000 profit for the month, only to promptly lose approximately £100 on Saturday night on Sky Poker, or Friday night, can't remember when it was, one of the two nights, could have been Friday night actually. But since then on Unibet, we've had a really good couple of days, and I don't know the exact number, but we've definitely made 4 figures for the month as it stands, although the month is not yet finished, of course, so that is subject to change. But yeah, could not be happier with how it's going, with my attitude to the grind, with how I'm playing. I think I'm playing some really good stuff at the moment. So yeah, things are going really well. Rivering the nuts is helpful. Being check raised is not that helpful because he very likely just has a 4, but he's very likely a fish, and we are very likely to turn the nuts because that's how things have been going for me lately. So now we've gone from thinking, please don't have a 4, sir, to thinking, please have a 4, sir. Would call with this 10-9, but he's opening on 50 bigs, and he's open big, so we won't bother now. We know he doesn't have a 4. We think he's probably just got a bluff. But on the off chance he's doing something weird, we're just going to jam because we've set the pot up nicely to get the jam in. Oh, well, he set the pot up nicely for us to get the jam in. Interesting that he goes check min raise big there, then small bet, then check fold. Looks like he's been playing a 5x very badly, or just some utterly random bluff. So I've made some. When my game is constantly evolving, every time I make a video, it's like, oh, made some changes here, made some changes there. And the way I play on Unibet and the way I play on Sky are they're like chalk and cheese because they need to be, because the games play so differently. We're just min opening on Unibet, and you guys are going to hate me for this, but I'm also just min opening blind versus blind. It's something I just thought, fuck it, try it, Rich, see what happens. Thinking it would be a fucking disaster, but whatever. I was sick of getting fucking 3xing and getting 3-bet to 10x and just constantly being blown off equity. So we'll start min raising so we can defend versus more 3-bets, lose less money when we can't defend versus a 3-bet, etc. And yeah, it's very surprising how effective it is. So that's one thing I'm doing that I know won't go down well, but fuck it, it's working for now, so we'll keep doing it. Just min raising all positions, using a lot more larger bets post flop in spots where we're not supposed to have larger bets. Like here, for example, we're not supposed to bet big here on King 4. Didn't realise it was multi-way. We're certainly not supposed to bet big there multi-way on King 4. That was definitely a mistake, because I didn't realise we were playing multi-way. I mean, maybe ace-size good here. Of course it isn't, but maybe it could have been. And I've also, because I realised I was becoming way too passive post-flop, I wasn't finding anywhere near enough bluffs. I've also now started to raise, and not as a bluff as such, because I don't expect to get any better hands to fold, but started raising some bottom pairs or second pairs, especially on dry boards versus people who think c-bet too much, just to try and give myself more raises. And I'm choosing bottom pairs and things because I'm probably going to need to fold them otherwise. And unless we're drawing completely dead, they do sometimes improve to trips and two pairs and things that people aren't going to put you on as much, because most people expect you to just call or fold with your bottom pairs, not to start raising with them. So I'm doing some stuff that probably isn't approved by many regulars. Maybe solver approved, maybe not. I mean, solvers do fucking weird shit. Maybe solvers love bottom pairs being raised on dry boards. I don't fucking know. I've never looked at a fucking solver in my life. But I'm doing some stuff that just kind of makes sense to me, that I'm comfortable doing, because what I've done for too long probably is I've been trying to force myself to play a style of poker that I think is the way that most people play, that I'm just not that comfortable with. I'd rather just do things for reasons that I understand, for reasons that make sense to me, do things that make me feel comfortable, and then if something doesn't work, discuss it with people, try and study the sport, try and figure out, right, why does this work, why doesn't this work, and just kind of develop my own game, keep the stuff that seems to work well, ditch the stuff that seems to work badly. But rather than listening to other people saying, do this, don't do that, do this, don't do that, I would rather just try and figure things out for myself, do my own thing, be my own man. And it seems to be going really well. I've kind of made peace with the fact I'm never going to be a player who's play. I think people respect the fact that I've done well for a long time, I've had good results for a long time, but they've never really liked my play style. It's easy to pick fault with for many people. Excuse me. I think now I'm just more comfortable in the fact that, fuck what people say. Poker's a game of different styles. As long as you aren't too massively out of line with the basic fundamentals, then the rest of it's just style, isn't it? I'll do some things that don't work too well that will lead to other parts of my game working well, and then I'll do things that might not work well for you but work well for me, and vice versa. And I have a hard time motivating myself these days to give a fuck when some unknown anonymous person on the internet says, "Hey, guess what, Reg? You're fucking shit." So I'm just very comfortable doing my own thing, getting my grind on, and getting the money at the end of the month, which is all that matters, really. Ultimately, that is all that matters. Am I going to get the money at the end of the month? Yay or nay? And whilst the answer continues to be yay, then how I go about doing that doesn't really matter that much, as long as I'm trying to, keep myself alert to current trends. Even if I'm not going to follow those trends, just being aware of them is pretty useful. If you know what people are doing and what they're trying to achieve by doing it, then when they're not doing that well, as most of them aren't doing it well, you can hopefully figure out how to exploit that. We should add more opinions on this guy. I think we're just going to set mine with the well, not necessarily just set mine with the nines, but Not going to 3-bet the nines versus cut-off. Versus button, I think we would have 3-bet. Versus cut-up, I think it's okay just to flat. Well, I think it's okay. Many of you guys were, oh no, he just flatted 9 out the small blind. That's fucking terrible. Just like you're going to say, oh no, it's just min-raised Jack 9 suited. Button versus blind. That's fucking terrible. I'm going to do a lot of things that's going to make a lot of your toenails itch. That's what I'm going to be doing. Hopefully you guys, though, will be riveted enough to stick around, even though I'm just some old Nick mashing buttons. I think we're going to continue betting this turn. Okay, we're going to get led into for a large bet, which makes me want to fold now. Watch me grow. That's what I say about my cock when I'm with a new partner, because it's not a particularly impressive piece of equipment. When he's in his dorsal state, it's not particularly impressive when he's not in his dorsal state. But it's like, watch me grow. Don't run away just yet. Give us a chance. Watch me grow. That's what we say. And the little fucker's he's filled 3 prams, so he's done his job. Multi-way here. Don't think he can have very much when he checks. This guy could have something, but we do have a good shot. We're going to go with a big bet. With that good shot and 2 overs. If we get raised, it's not a problem. We just fold. That's a turn card that I am absolutely no interest in barreling. Love to see a free one. We do see a free one. Yeah, I think I'm comfortable just giving up here when the guy who's likely got the biggest piece of this board check calls flops. We do river a pair. I think if he checks, we go for a value bet. If he bets, then yeah, well, against his size, we just have a happy call, and we lose to the 3 high flush. Okay, so maybe games aren't going to be terrible at this time in the morning. Two playable hands here with the 3s and the ace and the king of the same colour. Pretty much like ask her to come along again, which he or she does. And then we get a particularly uninspiring flop. But we know this guy is calling pretty wide. Although, to be fair, that wasn't a big blind earlier, not just from out in the field, which is not a board I'm going to want to bet into a player who I suspect isn't that into folding. I think versus this size, we probably need to peel one off. Completely break, and that will be that. Given they bet 3 big blinds earlier with the flush on the river, tells me they don't necessarily size up with value, so we're not going to peel too light versus their small bets. Check it off with the C bet with the ace jack versus the limper, and he duly folds. And we are done with the 10-8. snap calls, and we have a 0 equity hand. I'm not remotely interested in calling with our 8 when he snap calls and snap bets. It's very likely going to be a pretty weak ace. Not remotely into bluff catching versus check call, check, bet lines. Would love to call with this on the button, especially with this kind of big. Maybe we do anyway. Just a pretty big raise. Now, if he had more chips, I would definitely be calling, but raise just a little bit too big. But I want to be in with this dude. That's what I want to be doing as much as I possibly can. Give me my cards back. A limp, a small ISO. I think we just want to be in this pot with these two guys. We just want to be in this pot. We don't want to be in it anymore, of course. That flop came down and made me not want to be in the pot anymore. Games are feeling okay this morning, though. They're not feeling super reg infested. I think sometimes, though, like if you like kind of fall on a style that seems to work well for the games that you're in, and if you're doing well, then games can feel very different. If I hadn't had like an absurdly good week, I probably won like 12 to 14 buy-ins last week on Unibet. If I hadn't had that week, if I'd say a 3 buy-in week, I could be like, oh, these games are fucking shits. It's perspective's a very funny thing. But to be fair, they are looking particularly good today. There's lots and lots of short stackers around, or not short stackers, but people playing short stacks. Maybe we just found it on a good morning day, because I played some other mornings and it's not made me want to play. This is a lot more like the session I was playing last night in terms of how many. I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, there might be the same player on more than one table, of course, but just the fact that seats are filled with people who aren't playing full stacks and who aren't playing like a typical aggressive short stacking strategy leads me to think that, yeah, these games are looking pretty good. And whether I win or lose, I don't care. If games are good, whether I win or lose in a particular session doesn't bother me at all. What bothers me is if I've lost in a session that I kind of knew I shouldn't have been in because the games weren't great. That's when I get annoyed because I've not got the basics right. You know, the basics for me are grind when games are good, and then just try and play your best and see what happens. And if I lose, then fine, I lose. I don't care. Literally don't care because, you know, I've done nothing wrong. Well, I may have done something wrong in some hands, but I've been out there putting a shift in when I'm meant to be putting a shift in. It's when I put a shift in at times when I kind of know within 15 minutes to start the session, this is going to be shit. You know, the games don't seem too good. There's lots of like aggressive looking regulars around. And then I just continue battling and then end up maybe losing a couple of buy-ins or whatever. That's when it annoys me because it's hard to undo that work, you know. I mean, it's losing 2 buy-ins in a session that you probably shouldn't have bothered with. You know, after 10 minutes, you know this is going to be shit. But then you go on and lose 2 buy-ins. Those, like, it's when you've got to grind for what, fucking 2,000 or 3,000 hands theoretically to get your 2 buy-ins back. So you maybe a day and a half's work just undone by that lack of discipline, by not walking away from a session when you knew it didn't feel right, and also like the emotional side of fucking hell, Rich, why have we done that again? You get annoyed with yourself. you beat yourself up because you haven't stuck to the most basic part of your game plan, which is don't grind tough games, Reg. So yeah, I'm getting, well, not getting better because I've always been good at that, but I am getting a little bit better. And it's probably because I've got a lot more spare time lately. Um, in terms of like times to play, I'm not tied to anyone's rota. I have plenty of work to do. I'm busy with my work, but I'm pretty much in control of when it happens, and that allows me to have a really good poker schedule too. So like now I'm more in charge of my time. I'm putting less and less sessions in where I feel like, oh, I need to play. I'm forced to play right now, so just fucking grind it, Reg, no matter what the state of the tables is. And that's undoubtedly helping me a lot. It's helping with my making sure that I'm putting time in at sessions, that's good time, not just random time because, oh, yeah, oh, great, look at me, I paid a 35-hour week. 27 of those hours were played in suboptimal conditions, but yay, look at me, I've worked hard. And you haven't really. You put the hours in, but you haven't worked hard because you've not done your job right. You're a busy fool. And he chooses the same size on the turn here that he did on the flop. I'm going to see what happens if I do this, because it doesn't make sense to want to like bet small flop or bet that size flop and then bet that size on the turn card that's really good for him. It doesn't then make sense to bet small. So I decided just to do something random with my eights based on what I believe is possibly a sizing tell, and it worked out. So happy days. It doesn't matter what hand is there. So, some people will point at that and say, oh, you could have chose a better hand to do that with. But the situation was there as we spoke, that some guy used a size that didn't make sense. So I'm just going to attack it regardless of my hand. It's a pretty big 3-bet, but I think Ace Jack suited's too strong to just want to throw away, even though we are just going to fall to many C-bets on boards like this. Although that isn't a size we're going to fall to. This guy's almost certainly reg, big 3-bet, small C-bet. We can call here and then just try and get fruity on many turn cards. Maybe we don't need to get fruity anymore. Maybe we do still. If he bets big here, I think I'm just going to fold. He checks. See, we don't necessarily sell the best hand here. You can still absolutely have like aces, kings, queens without a spade, or even with a spade. Then we'll want to check this turn. So this gets super interesting. I think I don't know. I played this hand pretty badly. Well, I don't know. In fact, I don't think we have played it pretty badly. I think we have to call flop, pre-flop. Pocket nines. We have to call pre. We don't necessarily have to float the flop, but we did. Not actually 4-bet the ace queen here because I don't want to call it out of position. It's just not going to be a hand that's going to play too well. Calling pre-flop, calling 3-bets out of position. I'd rather just 4-bet forward with it. Against a button 3-bet. If it was a 3-bet from here or here, maybe less so, but I think button, seems to me at the moment, button is the most 3-bet seat. It used to always be the small blind, or it felt like it was always a small blind. It feels to me these days that button is the most 3-bet street now, and it feels to me that many players are kind of doing it just because they know they have to do it, whilst not actually knowing when to do it or who to do it against or why they're doing it. They just think, I need to do this more, so I'm going to do it more. And with the new small blind min raise, nice flop here with the 7-8 could induce some raises from this guy because it's a sort of board that people just love to raise on. The board is just too dynamic for me to want to slow play here, so we're going to raise again. And if we're in a cooler situation where our hand is no good, then fuck our lives. It does call and then instantly check. The thing is, spade doesn't necessarily have to hit him. He called so quickly. do we check here and just like call ribbers on any non-spade? If we bet here, we're kind of, yeah, I don't want to bet. Pricing ourselves into call check raises that we're probably not going to be good against. So hope no spade on the river. Oh, we'll take the 7 of spades. That is the one spade that we absolutely would have taken. And now we're going to go big bet and just hope he has a spade. Or pocket threes or something like that. And he finds a fold, which is disappointing, but not hugely surprising. Multi-way 2 overs. Backdoor straight draw. Go with a big bet. And it looks like I'm just autopiloting 3/4 pot. Because I'm using that size nearly all the time, which is something that I criticised George for in the video last week. I am like occasionally like massaging that and making it slightly different sizes, but yeah, I probably am using that a lot. It's just my it's a spot to big bet, it's a spot to small bet, etc. I'm not saying it's perfect. It's a work in progress, but I think it's better than what I have been doing. We have a second pair here and a gut shot. Don't think we want to bet though. I also don't think we want to fold, but calling a big bet doesn't feel nice. And that turn card, he's better for us than him. Certainly when he checks back, I think he would just block. Do we? Is he going to call with the queen? Probably not. But we just check. And he had a better hand, so block bet almost certainly wouldn't have worked. Yes, I should also talk about what else I've been doing this week. I've kind of, because I've run out of books to read at the moment, I've started rereading a pretty old poker book called Treat Your Poker Like a Business by Dusty Schmidt, better known as Leatherass in the poker community. It's an old book now. There's quite a lot of stuff in it that's outdated, especially at the poker strategy advice. But in terms of it being a motivational tool to help me get my grind back on, it's worked an absolute treat. I mean, I was 4 tables into the video, and I've spoke quite a lot about my no longer having the ability to grind hard at many tables. And I thought that was an age thing. I've spoke about it on Facebook, spoke about it in Discord, perhaps spoke about it on video. I'm not sure it is an age thing because slowly but surely I've been increasing tables, and I think I just lost the skill. I genuinely think because I hadn't done it for so long. It's not a skill you innately have just because you're young. It's a skill you've got to learn when you're young and a skill you've got to develop. And then, like anything else, I guess, if you don't use it for a while, then you lose it. And I lost the skill, but now I'm comfortably, when I'm not recording, 8 tabling on Unibet, getting good volume in. I'm not sure how many hands per hour you get 8 tabling, but it feels like we get like maybe, because it's a fast site, if we get, say, 80 hands per hour per table, and I'm 8 tabling, what's that going to be, like 640 plus hands per hour? If I can do that for maybe 80 hours a week, 80 hours a month, sorry, maybe more. I think I've got a chance of getting 50,000 hands a month in. I'm getting 50,000 hands a month, say my win rate long term is 5 or 6 bigs 100, plus then you add some rewards to that. You're looking down the barrel of a 600-700 euro expected earn, which I'm happy with. It's an easy enough grind, 8 tabling. If I can lock up an expected €600 a month, then I'm fucking highly delighted with that. I consider Unibet to be my main site at the moment over Sky. I love Sky. It's great community, great fucking games when they run. Problem is, you can't guarantee volume. I can come to Unibet tonight, although it won't be tonight because I'll be watching Duesenberg early doors. I can come to Unibet, on most evenings at 7, 8 p.m. and know between that time and 1 a.m. I can grind as 8 tables. If I wanted to grind for 5 hours, I could just grind 8 tables for 5 hours, no problem, and just bosh, just get the hands in. I don't play 5 hour sessions. I'm just saying it's there for me. The option's there. On Sky, because the only point to being on Sky is the quality game. So I'm going to game select way better on Sky. If I can get 3, 4 reasonable tables, it's kind of okay. But the software's shit. The volume's not good. So if I'm playing 3 or 4 tables on Sky, I'm going to need to have a double figure win rate just to match my Unibet hourly rate. And then on Sky, you're also getting the pretty shitty rewards, the inconsistency with the traffic, etc. And then constantly switching between Sky Unibet. When I play very different styles on both sites, it's not ideal in terms of like playing consistently. So I consider Unibet my main site. Sky is very much, I'll take a browse. If I see any whales sitting, then I maybe especially in the afternoons and things when I'm not meant to be playing poker. But if I just look at Sky and say, there's a couple of whales sitting, we can maybe just put some music on, have some fun, and grind out an hour or so of low volume poker against some bad players, and just if we make another 100 or so quid a month doing that, then that's going to be nice. So we've raised here, have we? I can't remember what's fucking happened in this spot. What's happened in this spot? He raised, sorry. We're going to float with all our backdoor stuff. I thought we raised at the 8-10, but we didn't. It's blind versus blind. If he bets his turn, I think we're going to raise. Certainly going to bet big. We're going to go very big too, I think. Really like to encourage him to fold here. If he does call, then we're going to rely on our equity to bail us out some of the time. Now, one of our first 3 bets of the session, 33 minutes in. 3 betting does not play a large part of my strategy. 3 bet pretty depolarised these days and very narrow. Unashamedly too. Unashamedly so. I don't think it's particularly fashionable, but sometimes go out in sliders and socks, and that's not fashionable either. I'm just not a fashionable guy. Hope this audio is fine, by the way, because I've got sore ears today, sort of like dry skin around my ears because I've worn my headset quite a lot this weekend due to my wife being home and watching too much TV that irritates me. So I've just kind of rested my microphone in front of me. So I hope the audio is not terrible. If it is, tough shit, and nothing I can do about it now, but hopefully it isn't too bad. think when he checks again with a big bet on the queen, I think he leads most of his strong hands on the turn. I think he has like a bluff catcher at best here. But I don't think he folds a 6. He certainly doesn't fold a queen, so we are going to give up. I'd be gutted if we bet again and he just like check called us with the 6. We beat 4-5. We beat some of his ace high still. We don't beat pocket 10s, which he almost certainly wasn't going to call. It makes sense now why he didn't bet the turn when the queen comes up. He's scared of the queen. Not scared enough to fucking fold his 10s, of course, but... And nor should he, by the way. I think this player here is also this player here, and it was obviously that player there, because I saw these two names earlier and they were both sat out at the same time, and now they both returned pretty much at the same time. As we face the 4-bet with the aces, which is not unpleasant. We're going to go with, 3-bet, we're going to go with the smallish 4-bet because of its stack size. Happy days, job done. Who cares what the result is? Just going to call here. Don't want to 3-bet and get jammed on by a 40 blind stack. And check call here if he doesn't bet, and we're going to just pot the river. Assuming it's not a spade. Queen is an ideal card to do it on, but we still do beat some of his weaker ace-x. I don't think he's going to be checking too many queens back. Maybe I'm wrong. If he raises, it's probably exactly what he's done, but felt that we had the best hand there, and we could get called on a largish bet. Wish he had more money. Still got plenty of money. We're getting 2-1 pre-flop, and we have position, and we have a hand that's going to be pretty easy to play post-flop. So we're going to call. Good shot and the backdoor flush draw, but he bets pretty big, so we're out. If he bets smaller there, we certainly would have continued in one fashion or other. This guy is definitely a regular, but we are going to play the King 10 against him. Expect a lot of c-bets here. I don't think we're going to continue against him. Some small blind min raise again. And it works again. It does work way more than it should. And it feels like it works way more than it should. Wish we were in the big blind here, then we could defend this hand, but we certainly can't now versus a raise and an absurdly small 3-bet. With a good shot here, we're going to bet. Hope our 6s are good, but not expect them to be down here. Not set mining against 2 short stacks. C-bet worked on table 1. C-bet success does seem pretty damn fucking high on Unibet. stop playing shortly, and this is only a session for video. It's a good time to grind, it looks like, but I've got to go and pay a check into the building society, and got a couple of other chores I'd like to get done. Go and visit Mother, then I've got the afternoon free to either enjoy some snooker or play some poker. What we're doing both, we're doing one or the other. I feel like we could have bet that turn, but this is the guy who like Snapchat back the tens earlier, then didn't want to fold them. Not going to see bet the fours. Get called with virtually drawing dead. Again, we shared more money. This is a hand I'd very much like to defend, but we're not defending it versus a 3x from a guy starting with 50 bigs. And I think we're going to just about call that a session, I think. In reasonable, I think we've maybe won small. Certainly haven't won a lot. But I think we've probably just about won small, I think. Maybe about even, who knows. But yeah, we're going to call it a day unless one of these hands improves. Which this one hasn't improved, the sixes. The deuces aren't going to get to see a flop, I don't think, unless Baltazar brings me, which he hasn't. So yeah, we're going to call it a day there, and yeah, I hope you guys have a good week. I'm going to try and do quite a lot of videos this week, maybe do quite a few morning Unibet sessions, because I have literally nothing to do. We are currently a one-car family whilst my car is in the garage, hopefully never to return. Hopefully they're going to give us our money back for it, because it's been fucking shit. Yeah, I've got an awful lot of time to play poker this week, so hopefully there'll be an awful lot of content coming your way for those of you who do enjoy my content. It could be a good week for you. I was about to go, but instead we're going to 4 bet at ace king suited, and maybe end the session on a low or a high. And this guy's a regular. I'm going to kick it off with a small c bet, about 8 blinds. Don't love the diamond turn, but it's a 4 bet pot, so it shouldn't have too many flushes, and we're just going to jam. And he falls, so we'll leave it there. Happy days, definitely a winning session now. Yeah, have a great week, everybody, and probably see you tomorrow with another video. Take care, and bye-bye for now.